If you're thinking about becoming an online tutor or you already are one, and you're worried that AI is about to make the whole thing pointless, we need to talk. Let me start by saying I love AI. I do. I use it all the time in my tutoring business and in my life. So, this isn't a video where someone who's threatened by AI tells you everything's fine. This is a video where someone like me uses AI every day, tells you exactly what I think is happening, what's going to change, and while I still think tutoring is one of the smartest businesses you can build right now. Yes, I do. Absolutely. So let's get into it. I'm Daisy Luce. I help others build a flexible, profitable online tutoring business like me. Welcome to the Tutor Life. Quick context so you know where I'm coming from. I've been tutoring for more than 2 decades. I found a few high areas of need that I specialize in, like like test prep, college application essays, and AP math courses. That's what's turned tutoring into a real business for me, one that's flexible, well paid, and something I genuinely enjoy. I love what I do. I moved fully online in 2020 and I never looked back. I love having an online tutoring business. And like I said, I also love AI. I use it every week, every day. I'm not an AI skeptic. I'm not anti technology. I think AI is one of the most interesting tools to come along in my working lifetime, hands down. So when I tell you AI isn't going to replace tutors anytime soon, I'm not saying that from a place of fear or denial. I'm saying it because I've looked at this closely. I've listened to what the experts are saying. I use the tools and I know the limitations of AI as of right now. And I want to talk about that with you. So let's talk about the disruption first, because yes, there is going to be an AI disruption. I'm not going to pretend AI isn't changing tutoring at all. We all know that it is. Generic tutoring, the kind where a student just needs someone to explain a concept or walk through a homework problem or review material for a quiz, a lot of that is already moving to AI. And I think that's a good thing. I do. We're all here to help students learn. And if AI is just going to be another tool for students to help them learn and gain the knowledge that they need, let's celebrate that first of all. We always want to be celebrating a student's journey. But if a student needs a quick explanation of how to balance a chemical equation at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, AI is great for that. It's fast, it's available, and it's cheap or free. So if you're planning to build a tutoring business around being a generic homework helper, somebody who charges $25 or $30 an hour to explain whatever the student brings to the session, I'll be honest with you, that lane is getting squeezed. AI is already doing a lot of that work and it's only going to do more of it. I'm already seeing in my own business, a lot of students have figured out how to use AI to help them with their homework and with these quick questions. I have a policy in my business where students can always text me anytime a picture of a homework problem that they need help. And I've always been like their personal AI before AI was a thing. I'm seeing those questions drop off more and more. And I don't mind. That's not bad. If AI wants to take my place in that and lessen my workload a little bit there, I'm fine with that. Am I afraid that AI is going to take over my entire business? No. Let's keep going. I'm telling you this because I think the tutors who are going to do really well over the next 5 to 10 years are the ones who understand this clearly. Not the ones pretending that nothing is changing, but not the ones panicking either. So if AI is handling more of the generic stuff, where does that leave the all of us human tutors? That's the real question. And I think it's good news. There are two big reasons AI isn't replacing human tutors right now. Number one, can you guess what they are? Number one, AI gets things wrong, and students can't tell. This is the biggest one, right? AI sounds confident, it produces answers that look clean, organized, correct, but it's oftentimes wrong and very subtly, way more than people realize. The student who doesn't know the material and who's trying to get their question answered has no way to tell whether the AI's answer is solid or not. They're not the expert in the field yet. They still need an expert to walk through this with them and guide them and make sure they're 100% perfect on getting on whatever questions they've asked. So think about that for a second. If a student already understood the topic well enough to catch AI's mistakes, they probably wouldn't need tutoring in the first place. The students who most need help are exactly the students who can't evaluate whether what AI is telling them is right or not. Just last week, this happened to a student of mine. I actually encourage my students, again, to use AI to answer some of these questions for themselves when they're in a pinch, when they need the help. But one of my students went to AI to get help with a question that they had, and it spit back some formulas that, yes, are used most of the time in his class. But guess what? His teacher had gone rogue and was using a different formula and a different version and expected his students to demonstrate their understanding of the formula the teacher wanted done, not the normal generic formula. It was kind of a bypass system. The teacher wanted to make sure they fully understood. And in order to use the formula the teacher was giving them, they did have to like really understand the concept. So this student came to tutoring and he was like, "Hey, I this is what AI gave me on this problem," because we talk openly about it. I again, like I said, I'm not trying to shame my students for using it or discourage it. I'm trying to walk with them and teach them how to use it ethically and correctly in all that they do. So he brought it to me. He said, "This is what AI said, but it looks different. What's going on?" And so I explained. But he needed me to walk with him and explain what was happening, why it looked different than what his teacher was expecting, and which one was going to be correct. And if he had gone into his test and used the formulas that AI had told him to use, even though they are good, solid formulas, he would have gotten the question wrong because it's not what his teacher expected. And he needed me to walk with him and explain that. So there are definitely some things AI can't figure out just yet, nuances of teaching, of teacher expectations. And not only that, but it does just flat out get things wrong sometimes. I have seen it, especially in the higher level math classes that I'm doing. I had a calculus student come to me not too long ago with a challenge question their teacher had proposed, and AI couldn't do it. It could not do it. It kept going round and around. It kept trying again to use methods that were more common, and those methods weren't working. You had to be able to think outside the box. And for whatever reason, AI could not think of the way to do this problem. So it was one she brought to me. We walked through it together, and then she was off and running. When you're tutoring a student, especially in something high stakes like an AP math course or a test prep like SAT, being almost right isn't good enough. A subtly wrong explanation is worse than no explanation at all sometimes, because then the student walks away confident that they know how to do the material and they don't, and it can cost them points on test day. That's actually going to stay a problem for a long time. Even if AI gets better and better, there is still no way for a student who doesn't know the topic fully to know for sure that AI is teaching them the correct method or the correct answer. So they need human tutors for that. Number two, the other big reason AI is not replacing humans right now. Humans bring that interpersonal relationship and context to tutoring that AI just can't. That may seem obvious and it may seem really simple, but it is really important. Families aren't just paying for information. If they were, they'd buy a textbook or just use YouTube. They're paying for a relationship and judgment. Judgment that you can analyze a situation in a context that's specific to their child and make changes and adjustments specific to their child. They're paying for someone who notices when their kid is frustrated and can slow down, or someone who can tell the difference between, I don't understand this, or I'm scared I'm not going to understand this. Someone who can look at a student's score report and know from having seen thousands of them before exactly what to work on first. Someone who shows up every week and holds that student accountable in a way an app really can't. The app AI can't show empathy, and if it tries, it sounds really weird and honestly sometimes repulsive. I had AI tell me the other day when I was asking it something not business related, just in my personal life, something about one of my kids and their foot was hurting. And AI came back to me and said, well, if it was my kid, I'll tell you what I would do. I've got to tell you that one line of AI trying to be human, trying to be empathetic was so creepy and weird. We don't want that from AI, but we do want the human connection from real people, and AI can't replace that. That's not going away. Teenagers, especially, don't just need information. They do want a human who's rooting for them, who knows their story, who remembers that last week they had a bad day and this week they may need a little extra encouragement. Do you know how many students come to see me for tutoring because they don't connect with a teacher's teaching style or personality? I'm not kidding. I just had a kid start tutoring last week because his mom told me he did not connect with the teacher at all and wouldn't work for her. The first thing I did when we met up was go through my assessment questions when I meet someone, but a lot of those assessment questions are just helping me get to know who this person is. What are their interests? What are they into? What do they do on the weekends? This gives me a lot of conversation starters that I can intersperse in the middle of our tutoring because students don't want to sit there and talk just academics for 50 straight minutes. We need to have some personal connection in the middle of that. And if I can ask them some things about the sport that they play or the musical instrument that they do or a concert coming up or where they're traveling for spring break, it makes my job more interesting as well, and hopefully it makes it a little bit easier for them to connect with me and also to just not make that entire tutoring session just feel like work, 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 but kind of just lighten it up a little bit. AI just doesn't do that. And it's not because the technology isn't impressive, it is, but because its relationship itself is the thing. That's what families are paying for. The teaching happens inside the relationship, not the other way around. So where does that leave us? I think honestly, tutors are in a really good spot still. Online tutors right now have something really valuable, and we have time on our side, like a runway, if you think of it that way. Not forever. I'm not going to say that AI will never be able to do a tutor's job. We really have no idea of where AI is going and how to predict that. But I do think people in education have a really long runway, long enough to build something that actually compounds. Here's what I mean by that. If you start tutoring right now, if you've been thinking about tutoring, or if you're already tutoring and you want to start specializing in something, you build relationships with families, you get a great reputation going for yourself, you build simple systems that work. 5 years from now, your business will be exploding no matter where AI is at. I honestly believe that. You have repeat clients, referrals, credibility, a niche you're known for. That's not something AI replaces overnight because families don't switch to AI the way they switch search engines or something like that. They stick with people they trust, especially when the stakes are high and involves their children. So the question isn't, will AI eventually be able to do more of what I do? The answer to that is probably yes over time. The real question is, what are you going to build in the meantime? Once AI is good enough to take over the education sphere, then this will be a completely different conversation we'll have to have as an entire society because the disruption from AI will be way more massive than just education at that point. So for now, and for quite a while into the future, the tutors who are building something real right now, specializing, deepening their expertise, creating relationships with families, making themselves genuinely hard to replace, those tutors are going to be fine for a long time. And I'm not just saying that because I'm hopeful, because I am a tutor and that's what I hope the future holds. That's really what I actually see happening, listening, like I said, to the experts talk about this. We have time in education. So if you're wanting to start an online tutoring business, today is the day. Absolutely do it. Don't wait. Dive in now. Time and humanness are on our side. So use them. If you want to talk more about online tutoring businesses, follow me here. I love to talk about it. I love, like I said, what I do, and I love helping other people get up and going in their own online tutoring business because it brings so much freedom and profitability, and it's such a fun experience. So subscribe below, follow me here. I do a video every week, and let's continue this conversation next time. Happy tutoring, friends.